Welcome to the Karen Kenny Show.
Hi, welcome to the Karen Kenny Show. I'm super duper happy to be here with you today. Oh my God, you guys, I got a good dose of sunshine today. I was out walking my furry kids. That's where I just came from. Nothing like moving your body a little bit, getting a little blast of vitamin D and spending time with animals, you know? So I'm feeling the after effects of that whole excursion. And today I want to talk to you about something that's just been on my mind, you know? So you, like me, might have some daily or weekly habits or whatever, right? So on Saturday mornings, I wake up, my sweetie always kind of laughs because, he gets up, he just kind of takes his time. He takes the dogs out, he like feeds all the furry kids, he does all this stuff and then he usually like grabs an instrument and he's like on the couch, right? I get up on Saturday mornings and I'm like, woo, let's go. Like I get right into action. And it's like cleaning this and vacuuming that, projects this, right? Like I just wake up and like hit the ground running. I think I've kind of always been that way. I don't drink coffee, so I'm not somebody who needs like caffeine to like get going. I think I just kind of wake up a little like just I always say, man, any day that I am above ground is a good day. You know that old saying? So I think I just kind of wake up, I do my little DSP, my little daily spiritual practice, and then I'm like, let's go. I got God at my back. I got shit to do. Let's make it happen, you know? So, the reason why I'm telling you all that is that I always like part of cleaning is that I vacuum. Now, I have this vacuum, and it's all going to come together in a minute. Stay with me. I have this vacuum. It's an Auric vacuum, Oreck, I think. I've had this vacuum for like almost 25 years, if not more. I might have had it longer than 25 years. I was just looking to see if I could find like the original receipt and like where I got it from. I have the original like paperwork for it, meaning like the manual, but I don't know if I have the receipt. It might have even come with me from California. Like that's how long I've had this thing. But here's the thing about this vacuum. Back in the day, when I first got out of college, I went to Boston University. I went to BU. When I graduated, I had to get a job right away. It's a whole much longer story. But I was the concierge at the Hyatt Regency in Cambridge. If you've ever been to Boston and you've driven on Starrow Drive and looked across the river, you've seen the building. It looks like a step pyramid almost, right? That was one of the best gigs. I had so much fun. I got some stories. Look, read my memoir when that thing comes out. I got some stories, but I had so much fun with my coworkers at that gig. There was also a couple of unfortunate incidents, but it was a really great gig. And I became very friendly with some of the housekeeping staff. I was the concierge, so I was like at the front desk, like dealing with the people and stuff. But had a locker like just where like all the housekeepers and stuff did, and I became really friendly with them. I also worked part-time up in the gym at the Hyatt Regency as well. And that was really fun because there was a pool up there and a rooftop deck for sunbathing. It was like a blast. Okay, anyways, we're back. I was just like daydreaming a little bit about that. But the housekeepers always had these high-end, incredible vacuum cleaners. They were like upright ones, like so not one like you pulled around behind you, right? So they were upright and they had this feature where you could practically lay them. Like so there was a hinge, right? So there's the head of the vacuum, it's like the thing, right? It's like the thing that spins and pull the brush that pulls all the dirt back into the suction spot, right? But the bag itself like had a handle and you could literally lay that sucker flat. So you could get underneath the furniture in the beds, even if they were low to the ground. And I always said to myself, someday I'm gonna get myself one of those fancy schmancy vacuums. Okay. So the day came when I could afford to get one. Now those suckers weren't cheap. I think at the time when I bought it, maybe it was like 200 bucks. I don't remember. But I remember thinking to myself, I did my research, right? And I was like, I'm going to get a good vacuum. I got this vacuum, you guys. It is still running fantastically to this day. Now, of course, I changed the bags, right? I have had there's a like a local, I think it's in Manchester. There's a an Oric vacuum cleaner specialist people, and I've brought it there twice. Once to replace the wheels, once to replace the belt. But like this sucker is built to last, okay? And I have a few things in my life that are made that way. Our refrigerator. I was just saying to my sweetie the other day, we have almost lived in this house. Let's see, it'll be almost 19 years. And we got that fridge like when we moved in. And I said to my sweetie just the other day, and I know some people freak out. They're like, don't say it, don't jinx it. But like, and I'll knock on wood for good measure. But I opened the doors up the other day and I'm like, look, my fridge isn't fancy. It doesn't, it's like a split. It opens up one side's the freezer, one side's the fridge. It doesn't make ice cubes. I don't need it to. I don't want a fridge that makes ice cubes. I don't like the way ice cubes taste from the fridge, right? I mean, like, when the cycle thing, I don't need the fridge to like do like to know my schedule or to have social media with all the screens. Like, I don't know what's going on with all that new shit that they're building. But this fridge, I've had it for almost 20 years and it's still running like a champion, built to last. Okay, I'm still driving like a 2010 Toyota RAV4. I've only ever owned Toyotas. I've had four Toyotas. That's all I've ever owned. People, American made like Ford, GMC, like Buick, like don't come for me, okay? I'm a loyal Toyota person, right? My Toyotas have gone for hundreds and thousands of miles. My Forerunner, before I gave it, like I traded it, like I sold it to somebody, was like at 250,000 miles. My current one, my RAV4 is at like 168 or something like that, built to last. Okay. There's a reason why I'm talking about this. Hopefully, you have some good things in your life that are also built to last. We have become a fast society, a fast culture, right? We want fast food. Well, I don't want fast food. I mean, once in a while, right? Once in a while, if you're out and you want a snack, maybe. But like, but even then, I'm eating vegan fast food. But like fast food, fast fashion, fast friendships, fast. I can't say that F word, right? All the dating apps, fast effing, you know what I'm saying. Everybody just wants the like, let's go, let's go. Fast, easy, cheap. I don't know. I'm a Generation X kid. I kind of like to buy things and invest in things that are going to stand the test of time. And that is just not the way that most of the world is working these days. So for me, when I think about like, if we want to stand out, and whether that's in our personal relationships or in our business and our business relationships, we want to kind of come from that place where we are building things that last. And I often talk to, like my mentoring clients, the one-to-one clients, but also the people in the nest. And I say to them, you guys, all the stuff that I'm sharing here, anything that I share or teach or a resource or whatever, what I'm trying to do is to pass on skills that are going to last you for the rest of your life. This is not like a quick, I don't teach on, I was going to say get rich quick scheme, that's not my vibe anyways. I'm really trying to help people gather resources, tools, practices, things that are going to change their life in the now, but also continue to be applicable, relatable, tangible, practical, usable for the rest of their lives. I like to create and build shit that's going to last. And I want you to just think about this. Because one of the most important things like that we want to build to last is our friendships, is our relationships. And again, whether those are personal or professional. So I wanted to have a talk with you while this has been on my mind, because when I was out on the walk today, I was thinking about what are the things in our life that we really want to have be built to last, for them to stand the test of time. Like, what are some of the qualities that we need in our friendships, in our relationships? Because unless you're building a program, like a product, like a physical product, right? Like that's a whole other thing. I can't really talk about that in terms of like just use good quality materials. You know what I mean? Like everything. And we look at, and I'm going off on a slight tangent here for a second. But when you look at the state of the environment in the world and how much trash, how much stuff, how much shit gets thrown into our landfills. We are poisoning the oceans. We are poisoning the land because everybody just wants shit fast and cheap and they don't care how they get it. They don't care how it's getting to you. They don't care what they're doing it with it when it's done. And there are times like here where we live, we have to take our trash, our own trash to the dump. And, my sweetie and I, we try to be really mindful. Of course, we recycle. But every time I have to put like a trash bag, like a full trash bag into the trash cans outside. They're getting ready to eventually on trash day. We take them to the dump. Like it pains me. It pains me. And I'm like, we're just like two people and some furry kids. Like I can't even imagine with big families with children and disposable diapers and on and on and on. I just think like, oh my God, like the amount of trash. Oh, I'm like pulling at my face if you're not if you're not watching this right now. So here's my whole point. I would rather buy something well for a good price, like really invest in something and keep it out of the landfill because that sucker continues to run. And I think that analogy can be applied to our relationships. And that's what I want to talk about. Of course, I'm always interested in hearing from people. So if you got any good stories about like my grandfather had this one saw, like I think about my uncle who has all these tools and he's had these tools for like over 30, 40 years, you know what I mean, as a carpenter. And I just think it's really cool. I think about the instruments, like musicians like my sweetie, were these instruments that were like built to last. Like there's a reason why like a 65 like Fender, amp is like that's the one, right? The Fender Reverb or whatever. There's a reason why that gold top, that Les Paul gold top is worth like $250,000, whatever. So things are built to last, things that stick around for a long time. And I'm guessing that most of us, if we are in relationships, we want those friendships. We want those familial relationships, or business relationships or whatever to last a long time. So let's talk about this, right? Let's talk about this. So this could be a friendship. This could be a marriage. This could be a relationship between you and your customers, you and your clients, whatever it is. So, but we can speak, because I think all of these things, I mean, not all of them, not the one where, when we're talking about necessarily like intimacy, if we're talking physical intimacy, like you don't want to be having that necessarily with your clients, unless maybe you're, a sex worker. But let's look at some of the things. I wrote a list to myself of some of the things, and I'm sharing these because I think I work with enough people, right? I work with enough people and I just know enough people to know that there are a lot of people who are maybe not that happy in their current relationships or the state of their relationships. And there's some things that they wish that could be maybe different or better or more deep or whatever. And I think it's good once in a while. I've often told you guys before on the podcast when it's my sweetie and I's anniversary, we always say to each other, "Do you want to renew the contract?" Right? So each year we say, "Do you want to renew the contract?" And then we ask each other, and I've posted about this publicly, and he knows, and he's fine with it. And then I also, my sweetie, and then we also say, "Are there any amendments that you want to make to the contract?" That fine print, right? Are there any things like anything you want to change, anything you want to update, anything you want to add, like whatever. And I think it's important that we check in with each other. But here's some C's for you. These C's are kind of important, right? So we want this consistency. We want consistency of effort in our relationships, meaning we don't want people who just kind of like, give up, drag ass, roll their eyes, don't participate, check out, right? That's a C we don't want, people checking out. What we do want is checking in, okay? We want to be able to be checking in with one another. Okay. We want that consistent effort, like meaning that showing that this relationship actually matters to you, that you're putting a little energy and a little effort towards this sucker, right? That you're not, again, just like taking everybody around you for granted, like they're always going to be there. Okay. So this consistent effort. We also want clear communication. Oh my God, so often, especially if you've been friends with somebody for a long time, or you've been a sibling for a long time, or you've been married or partnered or whatever, right? We have a tendency to just want other people to be mind readers. We just think like, well, they know me, they should know this. Oh, those shoulds will bite you in the ass every time, right? So clear communication, open and honest. Don't expect people to know. Like you have this expectation. I always say expectations are premeditated resentments, right? So just don't just clear communication. If you want something, say it. If you don't want something, say it. You want more or less of something, communicate it. And I find it so fascinating, that the people that you have chosen to partner with and say, like, hey, let's get on the same team here, right? Like, let's be a partnership. Let's get, whether you're hitched or married or living together or sleeping together for 20 years, sharing a house, whatever the deal is, I'm like, people say, well, I can't talk to them about that. I'm like, wait a minute. You've been sharing a bed with this person for 20 years. You've seen each other like naked, at your best, at your worst, sick, healthy. You've been through the gamut together. And yet we do this thing where we're like, they can't handle the truth, or we write these stories about people. And on top of like doing that whole expectation, like they should know this already or whatever, we also withhold really important information. And I'm like, wait, what? What part of clear communication, like, did you miss on this whole thing? Right? So there's this thing about being able to have that connection, that comfortable connection where you can be human in front of that other person. It's so interesting. Like, I know people who have been like, oh, I've never like farted in front of my partner. I've never like, I'm always like, no, like, private bathroom, like, you can't come in while I'm peeing, like, whatever. And look, every household has their own thing. I get it. But I'm thinking to myself, if you're sharing a home or a house with somebody for a wicked long time, inevitably all the stuff that the body does it's gonna be exposed, right? You know what I'm saying? So there's this idea of like, how comfortable are you creating comfort around each other where there's space for you to be who you really are? Like, it doesn't have to be a performance. You don't have to be perfect. You get to have your shared humanity. Okay. Speaking of sharing, we also want another C, this shared commitment, right? A commitment to the relationship and also a commitment to growth. That it's not just going to get like, oh, it's interesting. An older gentleman once said to me, I thought this was really interesting. I am not saying across the board that this is 100% true. I'm just sharing what this gentleman said to me, and it made me think about it. And I've thought about it many times over the years. He says men often get married, right? And again, this could be these different in same-sex couples. Um, but he said men tend to get married and they say, "Oh, I hope she never changes." Like they meet their high school sweetheart, whatever, and they're like, "Oh, this is the girl for me, and I hope she never changes." Where a lot of times women will marry men and they think, "That's okay. He'll change once he's with me." Yeah, he's got that annoying habit, or he's not that talkative. He doesn't talk about his feelings that much, but he'll change once he's with me. And I thought, "Oh, interesting." So I'm not going to tell you how to feel about that. But I like to just share these things and maybe you can think on it, and then tell me what you think about that. Okay. So the other C, we also want connection, which means we got to spend some time together, right? We got to communicate clearly, communicate your wants, your needs, your desires, and then connect, spend some time together. It's so important, right? If you're always just off doing your own thing all the time and you never have that field where you cross, where there's that moment of like where you're actually interested in what the other person is up to, right? Those little check-ins at the end of the day. before, after you put the kids to bed or before you go to sleep or whatever, like, just like check in with each other throughout the day once in a while. Not saying you have to constantly be texting each other and calling each other or whatever. That's not for everybody, but at least have that moment where you feel like you've kind of plugged in and you've connected a little bit. Okay. Be willing. Here's another big C. Like you got to be willing to compromise. You've got to be willing to compromise, right? It's not always going to be your way or the highway. And it's a really beautiful and humbling thing. Now, I'm not saying you should compromise on wicked important values that you hold. Like I'm not saying you should give up your own identity and, all of a sudden like whatever. Like I'm not saying that, but compromise on the things that don't really matter. Like just Jesus, if they want to watch a particular movie, just watch it. And likewise, like vice versa, right? This is true for all family members too, by the way, all of these, I think. And then, oh my God, here's another one. Constructive, constructive conflict resolution. Fight fair if you're going to fight. Like, if you're going to discuss, if you're going to bring up a sensitive subject, let's not resort to name calling. I have just been like, that was one of the things that my sweetie and I have been in many relationships where I have been called some names. I have probably done my own fair share of name calling myself, or certainly I might not have done name calling so much. Mine would be more to like maybe raise my voice and swear and get angry, but I don't know. I don't remember. I'm sure somebody out there is rolling their eyes. Somebody out there could be rolling their eyes right now and being like, "Really?" I seem to remember, and maybe I don't remember being necessarily a super big name caller so much as, but I would definitely be like, "Fuck you" or like whatever, right? So when I got together with my sweetie, I was like, "Yeah, no, I don't want to do this the way that I've done other things. Like I really want to be committed to like basically." And we'll get into what I'm about to say, like for these next things. But let's go over these, right? So far, consistent effort, clear communication, right? We want open and honest communication. We want to be able to really, be seen and be heard in our relationships. And so we've got to be willing to be vulnerable in our communication and open up and talk about our feelings, etc. Okay? We want to have a shared commitment to the relationship and a shared commitment to growth. That you're both on a path of wanting to evolve, right? Not keep each other in a box of like, well, when we got married, this is who you were. Well, when we da da da, this is who you were. It's like, Jesus, we want to evolve, don't we? Don't we want to grow and keep getting to know ourselves and know each other and remember who we truly are? Okay, we want to have connection. We want to be able to compromise and we want to have constructive conflict resolution. But what are some of the other things that make things be more built to last, right? To stand the test of time, to evolve and grow over the years. And I want to say, I want to hit pause to put in a little caveat here. I'm not a person, right, who believes like I wasn't necessarily hell bent on getting married in this lifetime. It happened to happen. It happened later in it happened in my 40s, you know what I mean? But and while I believe that a union like of marriage can be a beautiful and powerful thing, I don't always think it's necessary, and I also don't think that people should just stay married forever, especially if they're both miserable and they're making everybody else around them miserable, including their children, by staying in a marriage when they clearly don't want to be around one another each anymore. You know what I mean? So I'm not talking about building it to last and just sucking it up and stuffing it down and staying with somebody who's verbally, emotionally, mentally, physically, sexually abusive. I do not believe in that. So I just want to say that there's a reason why I don't think that everybody should just run and get a divorce as soon as things are had. I think there's a reason why there's counselors and couple therapy and people you can talk to and working some shit out. And I've also been around long enough to see that when people experience unhappiness or whatever in a relationship, we can be pretty quick to think it's the other person, that they're the problem, when really that's when we need to take a look in the mirror, take a look in the soul mirror, as I say, and get honest with yourself about, take a fearless moral inventory, as they say in 12-step programs, right? Take a look at yourself. And a lot of times our own dissatisfaction of self with who we are, what we're doing or not doing, whatever, we can take that kind of malaise, that general like, bleh, and we blame it on other people. I'm not saying your partner isn't part of the problem, but a lot of times, hello, I'm the problem. It's me, as what is it, Taylor Swift, that's her song? Okay, so here are some of the other things, right? So just to wrap that up in a little bow, I don't think you should stay in something that you're miserable in. So I'm not saying that all relationships should be built to last. I think some people are going to come in and out of our lives for different reasons, different seasons, etc. Okay, here's some other things. And I'm kind of sharing these as like a little checklist for you. If you are somebody who's in a relationship, or if you're somebody who wants to get into a relationship, here are some things you might want to be aware of. And I'm not a hashtag relationship therapist or anything like that. But I'm in the business of people, and I've been in enough relationships, right, to know that these are some things that help, like human behavior. These are some things that are going to help. Is there trust? Do you trust your friend? Do you trust your sibling? Do you trust your family members? Do you trust your partner, the person that you live with, that you share your life with? You know what I mean? That's kind of important. Without trust, how are you gonna, you're always gonna be holding your cards close to your chest. You're gonna have your dukes up. You're not gonna be willing to be vulnerable if there's no trust. You're not gonna be willing to be honest, to be seen if there's no trust, to share yourself, right? To open yourself up emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically. If there's no trust, it's not gonna happen. Is there mutual respect? This is such a big one, you know? I'm just not interested in being in relationships with people who don't have like basic respect for me. You know what I mean? If you don't like me, if you don't want me around, if you think I'm an idiot, if you just have no interest in being like kind to me, like I don't know. I'm all set. Like take it somewhere else, right? I'm like, I'm almost 57. I only got so many summers left, so many years left. I want to be around people that want to be around me and aren't going to talk to me like I'm a fucking asshole. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, no, like not interested in being around the jerks. Not saying I cannot work on relationships with difficult people. I don't think we should just run away from everybody that we find a little challenging, right? There's some good spiritual like I'm like kneading my hands like I'm making bread, like I'm kneading dough, right? There can be something good about spending time sometimes. Now, I'm not talking about people who harm you or distress you. I'm just saying like we don't always have to agree with everybody all the time in order to have a relationship with them. Okay. So trust, mutual respect, reliability. Don't we all want to have like first of all be a person that's reliable but also have other people that we're in close relationship to have that kind of reliability? Oh my God, when people are responsible, man, does that just take my nervous system like right down to a much more regulated place when I don't have to do mental gymnastics, worrying and wondering, are they going to keep their word? And even if they break their word, it's probably going to be for a reason that they couldn't avoid. Like reliability to me is like sexy. People who show up, people who are there for you, people who keep their word, people who don't just say they're a friend. I'm doing air quotes. They actually act like a friend. They show up like a friend. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's good. Here's another thing. Time together. Spending time together is really important. I know a lot of people do like long distance relationships. I find that most people don't do them well, right? They don't usually survive. So time together. And sometimes that time together for periods of time of travel or whatever, it might have to be over Zoom or FaceTime or whatever. But finding that time to have connection and intimacy and to connect is really important. Oh, appreciation and gratitude. This is another way that you build, especially in business relationships too. If your clients feel like you really appreciate them, this is how you can build that loyalty in relationships, is that you're somebody who has their trust, has their respect, you are reliable, that they've spent some time with you getting to know your business, your brand, whatever, and that they know that there's like that mutual appreciation and gratitude. Um, those things can get out of balance, you know? There can be times when you feel like taken for granted and you're like, there's not really a lot of appreciation and gratitude happening right now. And granted, there's going to be seasons, right? There's going to be times in each person's life where maybe somebody's grieving or somebody just had a baby or somebody just is going through a thing, right? They're having some, they're dealing with their mental health, whatever. Like not everybody's going to be on point 100% of the time. Um, but most of the time, right? If we can be expressing, not just like keeping it in your head, right? Express your gratitude. Send a card, send a thank you note, call them on the phone, let them hear your voice, right? Send something snail mail, like surprise them. Appreciation and gratitude, man, goes a really long way. Say thank you, say you're welcome. Notice the everyday little things and comment on it. Hey, I noticed that you brought the trash bins back in, blah, 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 from the end of the driveway, right? Hey, thank you for feeding the kids. I always say, I get up in the morning and say to my sweetie, thanks for doing the dishes. Thanks for doing this, right? Because I want him to know that I see what he does. And same thing for here. He'll say to me, thanks for going grocery shopping. Thanks for doing this, right? Because I don't ever want him to feel taken for granted. And I certainly don't like feeling that way either. So this is just like, again, this is just my list. And look, I could put probably another 25 things on this list, but let's not do overkill. We only have so much time. Here's another thing that's really important if you want to build shit that lasts. We got to have some self-awareness, man. We've got to have some emotional awareness. And we need to have some emotional intelligence. And we really need to have some empathy for one another. If you don't know what you're feeling and you don't know how to express your feelings and you have no idea, if you are just like shut off emotionally, this is one of the biggest things that I hear, women complain about with their male partners is that, he doesn't even know how he feels. He's not in touch with his emotions, da 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 da. But here's the flip side of that too, ladies, women, people. If you want somebody to have their feelings, then they're allowed to have all of their feelings. So you can't then shame men for crying. I think this is such a fascinating thing about the difference between how women are raised or girls are raised and boys are raised or children are raised in our culture, where we do everything like pink, blue, like we try to separate. I'm like, humans, which means feelings, which means it's not like women only got feelings and men didn't. Emotions, the chemical cocktails in our brain exist in both our brains. I'm not saying things might not be slightly different. Men are just as sensitive. Most men are just as sensitive and feel as deeply. They just either got it yelled out of them, beat out of them, shamed out of them, blamed out when they were kids. So women, don't get weird around, like, let your man be human. Let him have empathy for the full spectrum of the rainbow of human emotions, right? Like all parts of you are welcome here. Okay. Not the abusive parts. We're not fans of that part, but you know what I'm saying. Okay. Have your own emotional awareness. Have some empathy for one another. Okay. Oh my God. Individual growth. So important. So important. Please don't like get together in 1970 and then nobody read a book. For the love of Jesus Christ, read some books. Read some books. Read them together. Take some classes. Take a course. Expand your mind. Get a new hobby. Like grow. Grow. Don't become a stagnant pool like where mosquitoes and all the bugs gather. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, like expand. I'm doing this thing like from my heart, like a big circle, like expand, big circle. Expand yourself. Open your mind. Keep your mind open. Keep your heart open. Keep your ears open, right? Which leads me to this, right? Ears open, eyes open, heart open, mind open, which is we want to be really good listeners. Pay attention. Pay attention. Paying attention is one of the greatest ways that we show love. I am interested in what you have to say. And there's a difference between really listening and really hearing, you know what I mean? Like not just like, oh, I hear the words coming out of your mouth, but I'm not paying attention. Right? Put down your damn phone. If your sweetie or your partner or your kid or somebody that matters to you is trying to talk to you, take a moment, flip that sucker down, pay attention. Here's another thing that I do sometimes, right? We're all in the habit of it. Somebody's in the other room, you can't see them, you just walk in and you're already talking, and you go in and you see they're doing something, right? So we all do it to each other. So my sweetie and I have often said, to each other, just give me a minute. Like, 'cause if I'm mid thought or if I'm writing something, I don't want to forget what I was doing. And I'll just say to him, I mean, obviously, if it's an emergency, I'll put my phone down. But sometimes I'll just say, just give me 1 second because I want to be able to give you my full attention. I don't want to half-ass it. Now, look, we're not perfect. We don't always get it right. I'm deaf as a haddock. I can't hear him most of the time, right? So he speaks his tone of voice is just like really sometimes hard for my ears to catch. He and I have talked about this like ad nauseum, right? He's like I say, patience of a saint when it comes to repeating himself around me. But it just shows like really try to listen and be present, right? Like pay attention. So like shut your mouth. That's why I was laughing. I was like open ears, open heart, open mind, right? Uh, but shut your mouth once in a while and really listen to your partner. This can be wicked helpful in starting to help build things that last because women will often say, he doesn't hear me, he doesn't get me. It's another way of saying he doesn't get me, he doesn't understand me, right? And we want to be heard. All of us do. We want to be heard. We want to know that we matter. Again, that goes back to appreciation and gratitude. Like, let people know I see you, I get you, I understand you, I feel you. Or even if I don't, because I haven't been in that exact position, I wish I did, I wish I could, but I'm still here for you. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Individual growth, yes, but shared goal. Like shared goals. You got to know you're on the same team. If one of you is like, no, I really want to save because I want to pay off the mortgage early or like get this thing paid off. And the other one's like, Copacabana, let's go drink and booze and party and travel and save nothing, right? It's like, that is not going to work. You guys got to have some shared goals, yo. You know what I'm saying? And definitely some check-ins. I already said this, that connection. You want to do these check-ins, but here's a little tip. Here's a little something I've learned over the years. Okay, everybody's different. My sweetie and I can sit down and talk ad nauseum with each other over the kitchen table about things, right? But not everybody can. So some people do better expressing what's going on inside of them by being in motion. For some people, that's taking a drive. For some people, that's taking a walk, right? Get to know what works for your partner. Some people like to be in motion. It does something to the brain, right? It helps them to do. We already know that walking helps with creativity, creative thinking, blah, blah. But, don't always insist that the important conversations, like I know so many parents who say to me, I talk to my kid when he's in the car with me, when he's trapped, like on the way to school or like taking him clothes shop or whatever the thing. They like trap their kids in the car and try to force their kids to talk to them. I think it's so funny. Oh my God. So, but find out when you and your sweetie, you and your partner, you and your bestie, you and your family members, right? Do their best connecting and talking. And don't always insist. Like somebody might be like, can we take a walk in the woods or can we blah, 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 whatever the thing is, right? And see what works for them. And like I said, I could go on and on and on and on, but it was really just looking at these items, these things that I had, right? My fridge, my car, my vacuum. And I was like, man, these suckers are built to last. And then I started to think, is there anything else in our life right now that's really built to last? I'm like, so much is like, again, fast fashion, fast food, fast communication, fast everything. Everything's just like move, move, move. I said, yeah, you know what? Like relationships can be really built to last. if we're willing to pour into them, if we're willing to slow down and take a look at these things, right? So ask yourself, just kind of go through this. Have I been showing consistent effort in my relationship? Have I been communicating clearly with my clients, with my customers, with my sweetheart, with my best friend, whoever, with my siblings, right? My parents, or whatever your thing is, right? Is there a shared commitment here? Are we both still committed to making this relationship, whatever kind of relationship it is, work, right? Are we committed to growing together, side by side, on the same team, right? Are we still putting an effort to stay connected, right? Are we willing to compromise? Do we know how to constructively have conflict, right? Without like flinging like names at each other and being unkind and then doing the silent treatment or somebody slamming the door and walking out. Do you know how many adults, I always think of it like this, adult children, because so many adults, we're really just little kids in big bodies. So many adults have abandonment issues. So let me say this. If you are somebody who insists on being a door slammer and a leaver when you're fighting with somebody, do you know what would like really be helpful? Is if you, first of all, learned maybe a better way than that, but also if you are going to leave, like you just need to go outside and take a walk so you don't say something you're going to regret. Tell your partner, I'm going to go outside. I just need to get some fresh air. I need to clear my head. I need to take a walk. I don't want to say anything I'm going to regret or anything unkind, but I'll be back. I'm coming back. I want you to know I'm coming back to talk to you. That can make a really big difference. Okay. And then ask yourself about these suckers too. Do we have a shared trust here? Do I trust this person? Do they trust me? Have I been trustworthy? Have they been trustworthy? Right? Is there mutual respect between us? Does it flow both ways? Are we reliable with one another? Are we responsible? Do we keep our word to each other? Do we do our best to not break promises? Right? Do we spend time together? Is there a true connection? Is there verbal intimacy, emotional intimacy, physical intimacy? Not, you're not always going to have, but physical intimacy doesn't always have to be sex, right? It could be like, are we affectionate with one another? Do we show our love? Do we hug each other? Do we say, I love you? Do we kiss each other goodbye on the cheek, the mouth, whatever the thing is, right? Is there appreciation and gratitude? Do you take the time to say thank you? You're welcome. I appreciate that. I saw you. I'm grateful for you every day, whatever. Emotional awareness and empathy. Do you have emotional intelligence? Do you know what you're feeling? Do you understand what's going on inside of you? Do you know why you do what you do, think what you think, say what you say, believe what you believe? You got to know yourself, right? You got to have some emotional awareness. Individual growth, shared goals, check-ins, and then here, compromise. We cannot forget compromise. Are you willing to compromise? Maybe I already said that. And then here's another wicked big one. Forgiveness. Are you willing to forgive one another for the times when you are inevitably going to be clumsy? You are going to be clumsy. You are going to flub it up. You are going to trespass. You are going to step on toes. You're going to like interrupt them when they're like there's 1,001 ways where we can be really annoying as human beings and we're trying to like build a life with somebody and we have to put up with each other's nuances and quirks and habits and patterns and bullshit. So forgiveness, we have to learn how to forgive ourselves and forgive one another. And I'm not telling people that you need to forgive like awful big things. That's not for me to say. But just the day-to-day stuff. Can we just fucking give each other a pass once in a while? Can we just let some things slide once in a while? Right? And if something is really, really, really bothering you, figure out what it is about the thing, the behavior, the pattern. He leaves the toilet seat up. She leaves her wet towel on the floor. Whatever, right? Whatever the thing is, figure out why it's really bothering you. And then communicate clearly, go back up to those C's and because we want these things to last. So I hope this has been helpful in some way. And again, I want to reiterate, not all relationships are going to last, right? In A Course in Miracles, we talk about it like the three levels of teaching. There are some relationships that are going to be like bing, bang, boom. They last for 30 seconds. Literally, I see you in an elevator, we smile, we say hi, boop. Opportunity for connection, beautiful. It happened, right? Next level up is like when we spend some time together. Maybe we went to grade school together. Maybe we were friends, like, for like 3 months at summer camp. Maybe we went to like whatever, right? Some relationships, people come in, you date them for a year, it's over, but time served. Like there was a meaning, there was a reason why you guys met. And then I'm kind of doing this helix thing where I'm making my hands swim like in this line where you're going to come in and then you're going to go back out. And like that's it. And then the third level of teaching, and this is kind of what I'm talking about today, where we commit to a person, we commit to a relationship, and whether that's in a family. And look, sometimes you do need to leave your family of origin because it is dysfunctional as fuck, right? I'm not saying everybody should stay together forever. Not a fan. I think when it's supposed to be, when it works, when everybody is contributing and giving and trying to make it work, like that's a beautiful thing. But we shouldn't stay in situations that are damaging and dangerous and brutal. Okay. Nothing good's going to come out, or violent. Nothing good is going to come out of that. And there's lots of ways to be violent. I'm going to have another podcast about that. But here's the thing, right? Third level of teaching, these are the people that come into your life and like you spend a good chunk of time together. And look, I've often jokingly said, right? Like mentors are great. Like the people that like help you, teach you, it's so nice. Mentors are great, but tormentors will take you a long way too. And it's kind of like, and I don't mean tormenting you like they're physically harming you, but like sometimes we just get on each other's nerves, right? Sometimes you're just like bumping up against each other, and whether that's siblings or like whatever. But here's the thing, right? That's a third level of teaching. And if both parties are willing to commit, all relationships have the potential to be holy relationships if both people are aware and they're trying their best to love one another. And that is the final piece here, the love. This is how things get really saved it for last, right? This is how things really get built to last is their love present. And not just, oh, I love you. Do the words and the actions, are they congruent? Because when there's deep love, right, people can usually make most things work. Not always. You need the other things. You need the trust and the respect and all that stuff. But love is such a solid foundation. And I think of the three little pigs building their houses, but and right, like straw and hay and mud and like brick or whatever, right? Is that right? Yeah. And then the other thing is, I think it's somewhere, it might be in the Bible. I should probably find, I'm pretty sure it is, but it's just I didn't read it specifically in the Bible, but I just know this phrase of like build your house on rock and not sand. And fast, fast, fast is how we build things. Quicksand, you know what I'm saying? It'll just suck you right down, kill you, But you know what I'm saying? Metaphorically, build your house on rock, and the first foundation, right, is love. So I hope this was helpful in some way. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you so much. I hope wherever you are, you're having a fantastic day. And anything you want to find out about working together, finding out shenanigans, what I'm up to, whatever, just go to Karen Kenney, KENNEY.com. I would love to have you like come join the Nest if you're interested in that. That's my monthly membership program, right? It's like group spiritual mentoring and coaching. It's such a blast. The people are amazing. And there's also one-to-one spiritual mentoring in the Quest. There's lots of ways to stay connected. You can just get on my email list. And if you found this, I haven't mentioned this in a while, but if you listen to the show regularly, you find it helpful, you find that it gets you to think, or at the very least, you're entertained. I have a tip jar where you can like, I don't know, a little love donation from the heart if that speaks to you. And you just go to KarenKenney.com/tip jar. One word. All right. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And wherever you go, may you leave the people, the place, the animals, yourself, the environment better than how you first find it. Wherever you go, may you and your presence and your energy and your love and your relationships be a blessing. May you be out there trying to build things and relationships that last. Bye.